Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and today we're going to do a Should You poll on the Yuri and Yuffie banners and the Aerith Penelo campaign banner. Now, I know I just did my monthly poll planning and I kind of talked about these characters already, but I do still want to do this as a separate video because we can talk about now the side banner characters that are with them as well, because they're going to be a part of these banners. So we can look more specifically. These are dropping later tonight when you're watching this video. So, first up, we've got the Yuri banner. Yuri's going to have Realm and Nine as side characters. Now, Realm is definitely a very cool character. She's one of the most unique characters in the game because her attacks will basically change based on the summon that you're using. So she's very cool that way. And she can get away, I guess, not being able to do a ton of damage because she does steal a ton of free turns that don't count against turn count. But Realm right now is a character you honestly probably aren't going to use. She is a character I'm going to be very excited for her FRBT for sure, because I like her a lot. But she's not a character you need to worry about right now, and I don't think her call's anything you're going to be using right now. Nine is actually a very good serviceable tank, and he's very similar to a Warrior of Light type of tank where he puts up shields, right? The thing with Nine, the reason why he doesn't get talked about a lot is he just gets incredibly overshadowed by Warrior of Light. And being that he's the only character, he is still overshadowed by Warrior of Light. If you have Warrior of Light, he's just a way better version of Nine, so you might as well just use Warrior of Light. Now, if you really like Yuri and you go in here and you don't have that type of tank, then Nine is definitely a nice LD character you can get away with using, but he's not a character you should be chasing, right? And then we have Yuri, who I did talk about during my monthly poll planning video. I guess the best way I would describe him is that he is just a holy damage dealer, right? And his damage is going to be very good, and holy damage is a rare thing, so it's a nice character to get holy damage with. The thing that I maybe forgot to mention during the monthly poll planning video is his FR does have an off-turn holy damage condition, and I believe with his BT, he can holy enchant the party. So, I mean, you could bring him with other off-turn damage dealers that don't have an element, holy enchant them, and get really good off-turn gains, and like, Yuri gets 25% off-turn. Which is kind of crazy, and I think other characters get the normal like 5% or whatever, but it is a pretty powerful BT, and like if you go all in on Yuri and use him right, I mean, he definitely can be very good. But overall, I mean, we saw in the monthly poll planning video kind of the insanity that's coming this month. I would say this banner is actually quite skippable, so I would say probably you should skip this, to be honest, all right? Then we have the Yuffie banner. Now, Yuffie's going to have Cisne and Papalimo. And Papalimo, I would say, is definitely 100% skippable. Just a generic damage dealer, and LD only damage dealers don't go very far in this game right now, so definitely don't worry about Papalimo. Cisne, however, does have a lot of value. Cisne is a very, very good off-turn damage dealer, and is definitely very good and very serviceable, especially this month, because we've got several characters that have off-turn conditions. Now, I believe one of them, the off-turn, I believe, is at Beatrix. It might be Beatrix, but one of the characters have an off turn, but it has to be magic damage, so Cisne wouldn't work for that one. But you could use Cisne with Yuri. If you enchant her for Holy, you could definitely use it there, right? That being said, you know, Cisne is aging a bit, and Cisne's not getting any type of rework, and there are plenty of other off-turn damage dealers, like, say, Core, that you might already have. So, unless your box is, like, really starving for off-turn damage, you probably don't need to worry about Cisne, but if you're going for Yuffie, Cisne is definitely worth building if you get her, and is very good for an off-turn damage dealer, right? And then Yuffie I talked about in the poll planning video, but Yuffie's kind of a niche like utility character who can be very, very fun, but definitely not a must pull. Just throws down a ton of debuffs on the enemy. She can just drop 8 debuffs at once, which you would think is cloggy, but it's not, because none of them are framed. It's pretty much every generic debuff you can think of. And it's more the purpose to, like, it's not so much that, like, the debuffs are really nasty, but it's the fact that she puts so many down that one thing that it's really useful for is if the enemies have, like, a bunch of buffs on that aren't framed, you just throw the debuffs and they cover them. So it's kind of dispelling that way. And then for FR conditions like hers or Sarah's, it's a really quick way to make sure you have a maximized force condition because you want 8 debuffs on the enemies, right? She can also take very powerful debuffs that are on you and throw them back at the enemy. She can also steal buffs from the enemy and give them to you, which is very good as well. And now with her BT, she gets a ridiculously powerful HP plus attack that gives her very competitive on-turn damage. So normally she's the type of character whose damage is very mid, but with that HP plus attack, she can be putting up some big numbers, right? But she's kind of just like in the middle, right? Because you don't really want to pull her as a damage dealer, because we've got, you know, Astos coming at the end of the month, right? You want Astos. Even if like a hypothesized Sephiroth early comes out, he would be really good, right? And Beatrix Lightning are going to be putting up some nice numbers. So I would say only go for Yuffie if she's like a favorite or you really like the tech of her kit, right? But I would say this is also probably skippable for most players because there's a lot of craziness coming. Now this banner I kind of raved about during the poll planning video. Now I can't speak, well, okay, it's a campaign banner, so there won't be side characters. So what it was I did find, I think in that video I said that there was no like Aerith Penelo anywhere to be seen, but I guess there was a campaign banner with Aerith, but they had Rubicante. So what's going to happen is they're just going to take out Rubicante and swap that with Penelo, which I think it's a good idea to throw Penelo in there because this is going to be her first return since the anniversary, and it's a clever way to like get her back. Now I know there's going to be a lot of players. Rubicante would have been fantastic on this banner as well. I think between Rubicante or Penelo, it doesn't really change the value of the banner. It's still fantastic either way. But what I would say on this banner is if you're missing Aerith or Penelo or both, like this is a really strong banner to pull on, especially Aerith. Like Aerith is, I think, still maybe the best support character in the game. She's just way too good. She does everything you want. She's got the crazy force charging. She even does off-turn attacks. Very strong auras. Like, she's just great. She has the nice double echo. You can just back-to-back echo for huge gains. I just love Aerith. I'm using her all the time. And Penelo, even though I'm not using her as much, I picture her on like a newer account. She could be a mainstay in like every party and still be very good right now because her echo is the best FR to echo with other characters because you're always going to be getting the max gains. So I think Penelo would be a really excellent pickup for players as well. Just so freaking good. So I would say if you're missing Aerith and or Penelo, I think this is actually a really good banner to pull on. One of my highest recommended banners in the month, actually. So anyways, guys, you can let me know if you are going to pull or not. I might go for Yuffie because she's a favorite, but otherwise I would say the Yuffie Yuri thing I think is probably fairly skippable. But this banner here would be very, very good. So let me know what you guys are going to do. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.